I'm Scott L. Miller. It is the 1st of January, 2023. Happy New Year, and welcome to my vlog of daily life in Leon, Nicaragua. I am really excited to be kicking off a new year. Last year, 2022, was the first full year of doing the vlog. I've had the show for years, but it's always been, you know what, we're just gonna turn the camera around because the dog wants to be on the show. She's just being crazy this morning. There is a squirrel up the tree, and she is determined that she is going to be the center of attention here. All right, and I've had the show for years, but it's always been just a few episodes here and there, and then in 2021, I did a little bit of getting it kind of going. I really put in some effort in 2019 for just a tiny bit, and then 2020, obviously, like, the world got really boring, right? As we all got stuck at home and couldn't go anywhere. And 2021 kind of continued that, but we had this adventure of moving to Nicaragua in 2021. But we were so busy and I was just overwhelmed. And the show was not a thing. Like, I had 80 viewers. So it was not a big priority to work on it every day, and I fell way behind. Towards the end of the year, I was like, I'm really missing out on a lot of stuff. There's a lot of interesting things happen. So I put in some effort towards the end of the year to try to get that onto a more regular basis, and that ended up working. And then last year in 2022, we managed to get the entire year all together, all one thing, made it every day, plus tons of shorts, learned how to do shorts, got monetized. Basically, everyone who is watching this has joined us in 2022. We went into the year with somewhere in the 180 viewers range, subscribers range, and hit 300 somewhere around March. So that was really moderate growth. And then we are well into the thousands now starting the year. This year we're coming up on 2,200, possibly by the time that this episode airs. We'll probably a little bit short, but we're in that range. So what a year it has been. Learning to do this as a daily thing, which I used to do with my written blog for many years. I mean, many years. But doing this with video, there's so much more. And Liesel, my eldest daughter, is helping to edit now. My youngest daughter likes doing food reviews and things like that. So she's starting to be on the show. It's so many new things have happened. We have the show also hosted on Rumble for those who want to watch it there. It's the exact same show, just it goes to YouTube and Rumble in that order, but about 5 minutes apart from each other. And yeah, it's been a wild, exciting year, and I'm very, very excited that all of you are here with me for this adventure. Of course, for those who are new, I record these about a week after the date so that there's some amount of buffer both between what I'm doing and what I post, and to make it possible to get the shows out without missing a day, because if we tried to do it in the same day, that would be completely implausible. I would never get to do anything interesting. I would spend nothing but time recording the show. I am recording on the new GoPro 11 that I got for the holiday trip to the US. There's been several episodes on it, but that is what we're using. And it is fantastic. I love it. If anybody's watching and you're wondering, should I get the GoPro 11? I mean, I don't know if I would upgrade from the 10, but upgrading from the 9, certainly noticeable. I will be using the 9 from time to time. I'm filming in my garden, which you have seen in a number of episodes, but not that many yet. You'll see a lot of this in the future. We're gonna get Mia back on the show just because she's being a goober and running around out here and eating whatever she can find. She's eating some grass. She'll be throwing up soon. That's what she likes to do. So today is our big travel day. Now, one of the things I did ask about on the show just recently is, do you guys want me to make the show longer or shorter? And do you want me to potentially split the show into topic and daily? Because I definitely need to do the daily, because that's what the vlog is about. But the topics seem to be what drives all of you to come here. So I don't want to, ignore that. And I'm trying to figure out if I should put it together or break it up. Today, however, being the first of the year, there's a lot going on. But I'm not going to consider splitting it today, because my day is pretty much a topic. Because today we started the day, I'm filming this in Sutiaba, Nicaragua, but we started this morning in Houston, Texas. We are taking a Southwest flight. Remember, the blizzard was just a few days ago, and Southwest is still a little bit behind. And we're flying out of Houston Hobby, the airport that everyone is talking about, how flights are delayed, and there's lines and people backed up and all kinds of disaster going on to Southwest. And we are flying directly to Liberia, Costa Rica. There we are going to take ground transport into Nicaragua. So that is our plans for the day. We got up, it's not super early today, so it's not that bad. We had to get up on the kind of early side between 6 and 7 o'clock so that we could get everything loaded in the car, packed. Most of it was packed last night. Like, we're very good about being prepared ahead of time. All of our luggage is packed. It's like, get up, brush your teeth, throw it in the last few things. The car is basically loaded. The rooftop rack is loaded. All that stuff is done. We just got to like brush our teeth, throw things in backpacks, get in the car, double check the wallets and passports and that stuff, and be on our way. So that was this morning. Didn't have to be up too much before 7. Not bad. Can't really complain. If you're traveling at 7 o'clock in the morning, life is good. Got into the airport and our flight is at about 10:45. So we had to get there by 7:45 because the rule is 3 hours when you're doing international, and this is pretty international. We did all that. Had absolutely no problems in the airport. We had absolutely a ton of luggage, 8 checked bags and 4 carry-ons, right? It's like the maximum you can do, right to the limit. And most of the bags, we bought some just for this. We were in the U.S. and we bought them in the U.S. We brought 6 with us. We had them all compressed into each other as we flew north. Oh, there she goes. And there's someone outside the wall and she can hear them. And we bought new ones, so we're taking every bit of allowance that we have to fly back with. And you get 50 pounds per bag, and we're using just about all of it. We've got all kinds of toys from Christmas. There's Legos coming back, new cameras like this GoPro that I'm holding, and just a lot of stuff. And we did a lot of utility shopping while we were up there, and I'm hoping some of that's going to end up on the show. I've got a brand new tripod that I'm really excited to get to use, and into the house she goes. I've got new studio lights, so I'm going to do some interior recording at some point. I'm going to pretty much save that for days when I just don't have enough time to come outside and record, so it might come up this week because I'm pushing it. But with the new workflows with the GoPro 11, it is a lot easier, so I'm spending less time having to manage that stuff, so that is a positive, hopefully. So we have all that stuff, so we had to bring all that, so we were really loaded to the hilt. Got everything checked, just had our backpacks, went through security, nice and easy, got to our gate, and hung out. Since we were in Texas, and as we're flying out, we're like, we've spent so much money on this trip, we might as well enjoy the airport at the last minute. We went to Papacitos for our last Mexican breakfast as we were going to leave, and honestly, it wasn't good. It wasn't bad per se, but they screwed up our order. It was not at all what you would want. It wasn't particularly well done. It was at best mediocre, very high priced, and I was really excited because I really like the Pappas Brothers chain in general, but this was lackluster is probably the way to put it. But all we wanted was breakfast tacos. Taco Bell does an amazing breakfast. Lots of places in Texas do really decent tacos for breakfast and other, huevos rancheros and stuff like that. No, this was at best just bland, and I don't know anyone who would have been happy with this. It was just, you could have gone to any donut shop, gotten a cheap taco, and that would have been better, and Taco Bell will blow that away. So that was disappointing, but we did that. That killed some time. We got to our gate, we hung out. The kids chilled. Liesl tested using the new Steam Deck in the airport, which of course is going to work. Like, why wouldn't it work? But it was really cool because one of the things in the Houston Hobby Airport is a video game lounge. So this is hilarious. Here in Nicaragua, that was a weird thing. Here in Nicaragua, a popular thing is video gaming rooms. They're like the old cyber cafes, but they're converted for video game use. And I say that if you're used to them, you're going to be like, of course they're there. And if you're not, you're like, what? Is that a thing? But here they are. Relatively popular. Every neighborhood has them. We see them all the time, and it's a big thing. But we have not seen them in America, or not for a really long time. And now they have one in the airport, which I find really weird. Like, who's doing this? On the way northbound, we also saw at one of the airports someone with a VR setup, so you could like put on an Oculus headset and play sweaty, gross someone else's VR headset games in the middle of the airport while people watch you. No one did that the whole time we were there. And this cyber video game cafe was empty the whole time we were there, so I don't know if it makes any money. It seems like a really dumb idea to me. But it was funny to see a Nicaragua-style, I don't have a video game machine at home video game room inside a Houston airport. Bizarre. But we thought it was really funny that they had this terrible setup that why would anyone want to do that? And Liesl just pulls out a Steam Deck and starts playing her own video games from home, just like she was in, like this is what, you have places like that because you can't get something like this, except she had one with her. And so it's like, wow, that is a business whole thing that doesn't make sense anymore because the Steam Deck is the hot new thing. So as long as you've got a Steam Deck or a Nintendo Switch or anything like that, that's way better than this super expensive, awkward couple minute thing that you do in the airport to wait for your flight. Makes no sense. Anyway. So she had a good time playing video games, just like she was at home. That was fantastic. Got on the flight. Flight was about 3 hours, 3.5, a little bit longer than we were expecting. Completely fine, comfortable. Dominica watched the latest, and Liesl did too, the very latest Harry Potter movie, the one from the Secrets of Dumbledore or whatever, the third one in the prequel trilogy, which I have not seen yet. I've seen the first two, but not the last one. Luciana and I did not watch it. I'm waiting to watch it at home. I don't like watching movies on airplanes generally, especially if I have to use my own phone and stuff. I just listen to books on Audible, and the flight's always not long. It always is often not long enough. So you start watching a movie and it's like, I didn't get to finish that. Now I'm really disappointed. So I skipped that. But they both watched it and said it was good. We will watch it at home very soon, I'm sure, now that it is available. Landed in Liberia, Costa Rica. Everything went smoothly there. No problems at all, although it was neat. The moment we stepped off the plane, we're like, oh, our bones feel better. It's so much warmer. Even though we were in the United States for several weeks, we did not get accustomed to it. We probably a little bit, but not very much. The moment we got hit with that air in Costa Rica, we're like, oh, finally a more livable temperature, and everything felt better. Because you really do. You don't notice, but the aches and pains in the United States from the colder weather and the cold, humid air, just it makes things kind of ugh. And we got off. We're like, oh, this feels great. Got our luggage. Our shuttle was waiting for us. It's a taxi shuttle, so you pay for, just basically a taxi, but he grabs a van instead. Big one. Threw all of our luggage in the back. I had all this open space. It was really goofy how much extra space we had, but we would not have fit in a car, so we had to do it. We go in from the airport to Liberia, where there's a Burger King, and it's just, Taco Bell's been such a disappointment recently that, especially in Costa Rica, that we didn't even bother with that. We decided that we wanted to get Burger King, and that's slightly easier from just the way you have to turn around that corner in Liberia. It kept us from having to go around the block or anything. So we did that, and ended up discovering that Burger King in Costa Rica, and this is probably true everywhere else, it's just this is the spot where we discovered it, that they have more vegetarian options now, a lot more. So they have the veggie Whopper, which in the United States is the Impossible Whopper, but you can't yet get the Impossible in many other markets. And so we've been getting something that's made in Poland, but it's quite good. We really like it. I wouldn't say it's better than the Impossible, although head to head, maybe it is, but I'm not going to go that far. This is Mia just exploring the yard. In case you're wondering, I'm actually pretty far from her, so it may be kind of hard to see. But she's just having fun exploring what is kind of like a bowling green out there. And I love the dark green of this back wall. It's just so beautiful, and just it's so nice and pleasant, and the dogs just run and run and run out here. And so they have this Whopper that they've had for many years, and they just added a different cheeseburger. I think it's called the BK King or something of that nature, that we have not tried yet, but it's the same patty, just different toppings. I like the Whopper topping so much, that's what I come for. So like, I don't know when I would ever try a different burger with the same patty, but it exists for those who are not into the Whopper style. You have another option now right on the menu that you can just order, which is great. But the really big things for us is they now offer their famous chicken sandwich, which I think is called the BK Big King. And back when I was a manager at Burger King, this was the food I actually ate the most. The Whopper, second most, and this large chicken sandwich, that was my go-to for a really long time. And I forgot how much I missed that flavor. So getting that in a vegetarian option was amazing. We got 2 of them, and I ate 1.5 of them. Dominica can only eat so much. She gave it to me, and even though I was stuffed, I devoured it because it has been decades since I had access to that flavor. Wow. And it's not the flavor of chicken, it's all the other stuff, right? It's the cheese and the mayo and the toppings and then the chicken coating and the spices. It was great. I actually had no really strong memory of what it was, and this was really, it took me back to being 19 years old and managing a Burger King. Just boom, just like that. It was something. I'm so excited that we're able to get those when we go to Burger King. I really hope that they have it at the Burger Kings here in Nicaragua, and that we don't have to limit it to just when we go to Costa Rica. But we don't go to the ones here in Nicaragua very often either, so maybe it doesn't matter. They also now have chicken nuggets, which is funny because they are coated in a batter and shaped to be exactly the 1990s McDonald's McNuggets. why Burger King went for something that looks like McDonald's instead of something that looks like Burger King, and it looks so much like McDonald's. Someone had to put an effort to specifically make it look that way. It was weird, but they were pretty good. And the 1980s Chicken McNuggets are the ones I miss, and no one makes anything like it, because back then they were dark meat or a mix. They were really greasy, and that's the memory I have of how good they are. Now, of course, I've been vegetarian since about 2000, 2001. So any memory I have of chicken nuggets is really old, but all of my memory of them, all of the sensory that I have stored is from the 1980s when I was a kid, and they still had dark meat, and they were juicy and unhealthy and delicious. Then at some point in the 90s, they went to this all white meat. They made a big deal about it to try to make up for the fact that they didn't taste very good. And I stopped buying them because they literally lost the value that they had used to have. And I said she was throwing up. The dog is now throwing up. I'm not gonna film that, but I can hear it happening. So these are like the white meat ones. So they're dry and not particularly flavorful, but they have the shape and the batter and everything that I remember from long ago. And as a thing to dip in some sauce, and if you're just in the mood for that, fantastic. So 4 items now on the menu instead of one. And one of them's not really much variety, but the other 3 very different items. We are happy about that. So we got a bunch of stuff to try. The kids tried the nuggets, they liked them, and we got on the road. Takes about an hour and a half, a little bit less, to get up to the border at Piñas Blancas. It was a little bit busy because it is the first of the year, so everybody's it's kind of like vacation. They don't really want to do it, but they want to get people through, and there's a fair number of people coming through the border because it's a holiday-ish travel day, especially because it's Sunday and the 1st. There's a lot of people on the bus and flights. We went through. The line took a little while, maybe 30 minutes. Got to the front, and it was right through. Maybe 5 to 10 minutes to go through, which is fantastic. That's basically walking straight through. No issues in the scanning, the x-ray scanning, nothing. It was as easy as can be. Both the Costa Rican side just right on out, and the Nicaraguan side right on in. No problems. Paul was waiting for us. We got out, only had to walk about 900 feet. Now, we did have a lot of luggage we were pulling, so that was the hardest thing, is from the time our van dropped us off, you have to walk quite a bit. We had to haul a lot of stuff. Now, for those who are wondering, everybody asked me about entry requirements. I'll put this in a short too, but you have to have, as a foreigner, $14 American to enter, and have those in like 2 5s and 4 1s or something like. You want a little bit of flexibility. You have to pay $1 per person before you get into the building. That's the Alcaldía charge. Then you have to pay $10, I believe, per person, and $3 per person inside. It comes out to $14 per person, and it's American. This is partially how the government gets U.S. currency for things, because of this process. So don't try to do it with a local code. Don't let someone talk you into something weird. Have $14 per person American to get in. Just be prepared for that. And you can get U.S. dollars in Costa Rica, but better to bring them with you if at all possible. If you're coming from the north, it can be a problem to get U.S. dollars, to be prepared for that. You have to have either a recent, like last 72 hours, PCR COVID test, or be vaccinated. At least 2 shots. You do not need to have boosters. That does go for children, though. So unless they're very, very young, I don't know what the cutoff age is, but you will need to either do the test or have the first 2 shots. And then you need to, and this is something that people really do forget. Those of us who travel all the time, we always have this at the ready. We don't think about it anymore. I mean, obviously our passports, you have to have that. You always need to have an address to which you are headed inside the country. This can be a hotel you're staying at. In Nicaragua, it could just be someone's house, right? It doesn't have to be something really formal. They need to know that you know where you're going and what to tell a taxi, and that it's a real place, and they can write it down. So if there's some emergency, they know where to at least start trying to track you down. If it is a hotel or someone's house, whatever, have its address as best you can. Get it from someone in the country. Also have their phone number. They don't always ask for that, but they're supposed to, and they keep that on record. If they need to contact someone and be like, hey, these people left luggage, that's how they reach you, right? Like, it's good for you, but you do have to be aware, have that at the ready. Don't be like, oh, I put that in something that I packed away and I don't have access to it. You'll be really sorry. Have that at the ready, and you can go right through. Those are the entry requirements that really affect normal people. They have a little sign that says that when you get there, but of course, at that point, it's too late. You're already there. So have that ready. So we went right through. That was great. Walked 900 feet to where Paul was able to pull over. We have the Toyota Corolla. He got a roof rack while we were gone because of this. We barely got the luggage into the car, and then we had the 2 new giant suitcases. They went on the roof. took it right to its weight limit. And then we had a pretty frustrating drive home. Nothing terrible, just heavy traffic that never wanted to move. So we were doing about 30 kilometers an hour most of the way home. It was about a 6-hour drive. Should be 4.5, 6 hours. It was quite dark by the time we got back to the house here in Sutiava. But wow, was it great getting home. Let me tell you, I have said, living in this house, it's very comfortable. We like it. We're extremely, I mean, we've really lucked out with coming up with this house. The dogs were so excited to see us, and they're just as happy as can be. I can't say enough how happy the dogs are now. And our staff was here waiting for us, and just everything was ready, and things were being watched over, and we didn't have to worry about anything because the house wasn't empty. We just walked into a house that was ready. Our security guard opened the gate. Like, it was fantastic. The whole experience, stepping into the house, again, it's just like, it's so comfortable, and it really feels like home. I've spent so little time in this house because we've been away. My gosh, it felt like home. As soon as we got here, it was fantastic. So just absolutely happy with everything. It was a great day of travel. And I did a short about this. I've talked a few times about it, but just why we went through Liberia, I want to say again, we're getting a direct flight at good prices on Southwest from Houston Hobby. That's a big deal for us. We're coming from Houston. If you're not coming from Houston, that doesn't matter for you. Flying into Liberia is no problem for us. It is easier going through customs there and coming through the border on land than it is coming into Managua, but not a big deal. If you want to come into Managua, by the time this posts, so at the time that we got tickets, there were no good flights into the U.S., into Managua from the U.S., or vice versa. Between the time that we booked our tickets and when we went on the trip, Spirit and American Airlines returned to Managua. But the prices are high because it was their first few weeks. Now their prices have dropped and they are reasonable. I don't know if they're super cheap, but they are reasonable. In the time since we returned, United has returned to Managua. So now we can fly directly from Houston IAH, that's Intercontinental, Bush Intercontinental up north. We can fly directly to Managua. So that gives us a longer trip on the U.S. side, about an hour and a half from where we stay, which is right by Hobby, but it reduces our 6-hour drive from Liberia to home here in Leon to a 1.5, maybe 2-hour drive from the Managua airport. We're an hour and a half from Managua, but the airport's on the far side, so 2 hours. So overall, it's a win of several hours, and we have a border crossing that we don't have to do, but we have to do the extra effort of flying into Managua Airport, and we don't have a really handy airport on either side. It's a little bit of effort on both. Sometimes it's worth shifting all the effort to one side rather than the other, but we now have good alternative options. We have Spirit, which flies into Managua from Houston, but it takes about 12 to 14 hours because of layovers. But I've seen the prices as low as $141. I think we're flying into Liberia for around $220, $230. I have no idea what United and American cost, but United comes from Houston for us. American comes from Dallas, and in theory, that direct flight will not be too bad. So lots of options have come up. For us, there's lots of reasons to go to Costa Rica, but there's also reasons to come directly to Managua. We will see what we do next time. As the options to Managua mature, we may decide that they make sense for us, and we'll see when people come down to visit what they decide to do. But that is where we are. So what a kickoff to the new year. We're already doing 3 countries on our first day of the year. Not the first time we've done that. It's great to be back home in Nicaragua. We're going to make lots of amazing content for you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of the experience here on the vlog. And just, this is my daily vlog. It's so cool that you all have come along for this journey. And I promise 2023 is going to be even more interesting, even more fun, even better content than 2022. So let's get into it. Get ready for the new year. Get out there, like and subscribe. Remember, that's every episode. It really makes a difference. And if you want to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee. Just go to the link below, buymeacoffee.com/ScottAlMiller. That comes directly to me. It's like Patreon. Really helps support all the things we do here on the channel, and like the new cameras and tripods and that sort of stuff. And of course, share on social media. Tell your friends about the show. Are you thinking about moving to Nicaragua? I want to know. What are you doing for the new year? What's your travel? Are you relocating? Expatting? What is digital nomadry? What's going on? Get in those comments. Talk to each other. Talk to me. Let's get a discussion going. And welcome to the new year. I will see all of you tomorrow.